if you read the press, you will notice that a lot of articles that happen to get a lot of clout are articles which criticize things. They can criticize TV shows, movies, industries, businesses, and in their criticism, they have one thing in common. They don't try to understand how things work, but they ask the question, why isn't it that things are equitable? For example, the BBC was criticized on why is it that their male staff gets paid more than their female counterparts. And they didn't try to understand about the ratings or how much money does the male staff bring to the company before he gets his paycheck. No, the question was, why is it that they're not being paid the same? And the same criticisms can be applied on why is it that there's too many white straight male as CEOs. Or the same criticisms can be applied to why is it that the majority of people winning the Oscars are straight white guys. And these people that criticize and criticize and criticize can do it for various reasons, but usually it is because they want to gain positions of power. It is perceived by humans that if you criticize something, then you must also have the solution for it. So a lot of companies, they put these critics in positions of power and hope that they shut up. But unfortunately, once they get into positions of power, they don't really have the solutions, but they're very tyrannical in their application. Like, they come up with speech codes and they come up with different hiring practices, usually promoting other people who are critics in positions of power, changing the way the company operates. And at the end of the day, they don't really bring equity at all. Because if you look on planet Earth, you can't point to a single society in human history that has been equitable. You can point to certain societies that have been more equitable than others, but equity in itself, the way the critics want it, doesn't really exist. And the reason for this, in my opinion, has to do with liberty and freedom and the fact that people get to choose. Because the overwhelming amount of people on planet Earth do not want power. What people want is the same thing the American Constitution promises, and that is happiness. And what is happiness for a person might not be happiness for another person. Now, I, as a person who lived in a rural area as well as an urban area, as a person who lived in a very diverse neighborhood, as well as moved towards a university, I think I have the cultural background in order to adequately explain the phenomenon that the critics are noticing, but they fail to come up with solutions. Now, to me, the solution to the problem became apparent when I saw the first debate between Sargon of Akkad and Destiny. And because it happened years ago, I don't know if any of the two individuals still have the same belief system. But Sargon suggested that some people should become builders. And Destiny snided at that remark. It was almost like an insult. It's like, what do you mean, like, people would want to become builders? And he was disparaging towards the profession. And some people in the chat said, hey, I'm a builder. It's a noble profession. Why do you look down upon it? And that's when it clicked to me, because at the time Sargon was from a working class person mindset. From my understanding, he didn't go to university. He was surrounded by other working class lads, and he didn't view being a builder as a problem. While Destiny was surrounded by intelligent people, by the intelligentsia, who are people that have a completely different mindset and view of the world. And it's the same mindset and view that the colleagues around me, both at med school as well as law school, also shared. And their vision of the world is very different than that of the working class people. Their vision of the world is that society is organized as a ladder. And every single profession in a society is a different step on the ladder. And as you go on top of the ladder, you not only get more money, but you also get more prestige because you have managed to get closer to the top. And they view the act of building, the act of construction working, to be very low on the ladder. It's something that people try to avoid ending up as by going to a university and studying hard. It's only the people that are either very poor and can't afford to go to a university, or people who are very stupid and can't learn properly to be able to survive in a university background, that they end up as builders. And that's a wrong mindset. I don't think that is the case at all. But it's this type of mindset that prevents equity from happening, because for a person like Destiny, for him, happiness is, I guess, like avoiding gaining the profession of a builder. It's avoiding these lower steps of the ladder. For him, like probably prestige, money, wealth, providing for his immediate family is what causes happiness. And because people have this empathetic view that goes like, what's good for me must be good for you, he believes that all people should live like this. And all people believe like this. But that's not the case. Because again, I lived in a rural area. And despite the fact that the left tries to associate culture with race all the time, that is not true. A rural area has a completely different culture than you can have in a big city, even though the races are the same. In a rural area, a place where everyone knows everyone else, wealth isn't as important as maintaining harmony within the group, as making sure that you're not the gossip of the town, that your relationships with the neighbors are being preserved, that you attend Sunday church every morning, and that you are a productive member of the community. This is the things that the people in small rural areas value. And because of that, you're not going to see these people ending up having luxurious villas and having luxurious cars and becoming CEOs and whatnot. But if you look at a city where people are more individual mindset oriented, and they are more oriented for climbing the corporate ladder and obtaining more power by becoming CEOs and HR people, and they just want as much wealth as possible to get a bigger car, then those people are more likely to become wealthy simply because that's what they put forward. Like, that is what gives them happiness. And as such, that's what they're pursuing. And if you pursue something, you're more likely to get it than another group of people that aren't pursuing that thing. And if they do get it, they might get it by circumstance. And I think like both of these lifestyles are valid, because you will have intelligent people that look at the rural folk and they will say, like, these people are being oppressed and they don't know it. Because they aren't wealthy, because they aren't CEOs, because they don't have the same financial success as everyone else, it's because society is oppressing them. And because society is oppressing them, I need to help them visualize this oppression. And only by creating a revolution against the system can we now uplift these poor people into positions of power. And the problem with this mindset is that, again, it conflicts with happiness, because you can look at one of the people that don't have wealth, but they have a very strong family bond, and when they grow old, they have all the family members coming in to help and make sure that he is comfortable on his sickbed. And then you can have a CEO that chose not to marry, is 70 years old, no one knows him because all of his family members have passed away, so he ends up being alone in a bed. Which one of these people is happy? And it comes up based on the individual to make the choice. If the individual is personally satisfied with his life, if the individual is personally happy with his decisions and where he is in life, and that's something that only that person can make. It's not something that you can judge on another person. Hey, you're doing your life wrong. Like, you're focusing way too much on family and you're not focusing enough on getting more wealth. But at the same time, it can also be the opposite. Like, hey, you're focusing too much on gaining wealth and you're not having a family or whatever. But regardless of which side of the conversation you're in, the fact that different people, different cultures are valuing different things, whether it is piety, whether it is wealth, whether it is the connections amongst the people, because they seek these different things out, they're not going to get to the same end result. They are going to have like different levels of equity when it comes to power. So, for example, if you look at some of the people that have the most wealth and power in society, you can say, well, actors. Okay, actors are some of the people that have the most wealth and power in a society. And then you can see how many actors are gay and how many actors are white and how many actors are black. And then you can say, well, you know, like we need to tinker the numbers when it comes to actors to get like more people of color in the acting profession, to get more this in the acting profession. And you're going to get some results. But at the same time, if you are going to judge people based on who has stable families and who is happy because of their family relationships, then all of a sudden you're going to notice that the acting profession is probably at the bottom of the ladder. Most actors have gone through several divorces. Most actors are probably not happy given the fact that they come up in the news doing drugs and other things. Like a person that's happy probably doesn't need these supplements, you know? So all of a sudden, okay, the actors aren't on the top of the ladder. And you look at it, it's like, oh, it might be people from some religious community in the rural area, like the Amish or something. So it really matters, like, how do you judge people? Like, what is your standard? What is your definition? And I think that this differs from culture to culture, from community to community, and simply putting all communities and all cultures under the same standard is going to be tyrannical, because they're not going to live up to the same standard, because they're not trying to achieve the same standard. The Amish don't want a new Ferrari. The Amish don't want an yacht, and I'm pretty sure that the Amish are still happy somehow. And I don't think that they're being oppressed. But hey, you know, let me know what you guys think. This is an interesting conversation. I'll see you guys in the comment section. And thank you for watching this video.